So I forked over and I cloned City of Chicago. Got it right here. I'm in my directory, City of Chicago. I see we have a README, Chicago Python file, and a Chicago salaries, Chicago queries.sql file. So that's where we'll just input our queries. Well, let's see what we got. So release 0, get the data set, visit the data portal and download the CSV. There should be a pretty significant number of rows. So I clicked on that link. Here it is. I'm going to export, download CSV, CSV for Excel. Currently downloading. Great.
Does it matter if we did CSV or CSV for Excel? Did it read it just the same?
I had never done the CSV for Excel, so if you did the CSV for Excel and it worked, then it should be fine. All right, I'm going to actually.
We did. I know.
I'm going to just drag it into my working directory. And this is a pretty standard, like I don't like that name, so I'm just going to say current Chicago salaries. It's okay if you didn't do that, whatever. So I'm just going to inspect Chicago salaries. Looks like the header, we have name, job titles, department, full or part-time, salary or hourly, typical hours, annual salary, hourly rate. It looks like name, followed by last name, comma, first name, space, and a middle initial if they have it. Where we go. So create a database on your computer called Chicago Salaries using PSQL command, using sitecop PG, psycho PG, whatever. We want to create an employees table with the following columns. All right. So in clear, oh, that's not it. Clear. So has anybody created a hotkey command to get to the terminal real quick? Have they done that, or did I have to continue to click?
No, you can do control.
So
tilde.
control what?
Control tilde.
Control.
It also gets rid of
tilde.
It will open the terminal.
Yeah, that's
also focus the terminal.
Okay. So so it focuses like control tilde focus it. I also created one, just option shift backspace. So there's a way we get into. You can create hotkeys within VS Code. So I'm gonna create a table or create a database. Create DB Chicago salaries. I'm gonna do 3 because this is probably the third time I've done it. All right. PSQL.
So even if we're writing Python, we still start creating the database by the terminal?
Yeah. So I'm in my Chicago salaries. Did not find any relations. Great. Clear. Now it says using. Why is spot? Oh my God. So create a database on your computer, Chicago salaries, we just did that. Using sitecop PG, you want to create an employee table with the following columns in Python. So what do we need first in Python if we want to create a database using SQL and sitecop PG and just overall Python? How do we create it?
Import your sitecop.
All right, so what if I don't have it installed?
You should install it.
How do I install it?
It's pip install.
Pip install.
Is that not part of the standard package for Python? Because when I went to install mine, it said it was already on.
Okay. So yeah. All right. So requirement already satisfied. Great. So I can import PSYCOB2. Import OS because we're going to need that. So what are
CSV as well?
We're going to have to import CSV. Great. Okay. So how do we connect to the database using sitecop PG? So create a connection. So I got connect, and F DB name equals Chicago, the name of the database, salary, so mine's name 3, and then user equals os.get login. Get login is a built-in method in the OS package to essentially get, so you can even like print os.get login. I'm gonna just run this. I don't even know what it looks like. Let's see. Python Chicago.py. Get rid of that. GA pre. Cool. So that's what the user is going to be.
Some of us had to also import get pass.
No, I don't do that right now. So some other people have the OS, the get login doesn't work. So I know Noah mentioned that there's another library that enables you to get the username.
Why does it not work and what can be done?
I don't know. I've never encountered that problem before.
Okay.
But
Brian put it out in the okay.
we made a connection. What else do we need to do? Is that all we need right now? So we need cursor equals connection dot cursor, which is another. And then with the cursor, it's not cursor. And here's where we want to like cursor dot execute. This is where we're going to execute commands within that. After we do execute commands, what do we want to actually do? Because when you execute a command, it's kind of like when you commit, like it's like in a state, or it's kind of like when you add in GitHub, like you add it and it's in a staging area, then you actually have to commit it. So connection.commit, and then at the very end, when the Python file runs, what do you want to do? Close it. Connection.close the connection. So now we can just write our normal Python. We can write functions, we can write variables, we can do anything we want, just normal Python here. So we can write crazy algorithms and that does stuff, but right now we actually want to create a, write some SQL query to create a table. So let's create a just variable Chicago, salaries, table creation equals. Then within here is where we're going to actually write some SQL, raw SQL to create our table. So we'll look at create a database, and then we want to create an employees table with the following columns. I'm just going to copy this over. So create table, employees, and then we want ID, serial, primary key, first name, varchar 255, do not null, last name, varchar 255, not null, job title, varchar 255, not null, full or part-time, varchar, I'm going to do 20, not null. Then department.
Full part-time only has one. I mean, instead of 20.
Right.
One.
Yeah. So varchar could be only one value, but who knows in the future, I might want to create full-time, part-time. Yeah, I don't know if there's other times. Varchar 255, not null. And then annual salary. And I notice it says integer, not null. It says, note if an employee is an hourly employee, calculate their annual salary by the equation hours per week times hourly salary times 50 weeks in a year. You don't really need to do anything like that right now. So I've got this variable, which is raw SQL query. It's just literally like a string that doesn't do anything. So now I actually need to execute this raw SQL Chicago, there's employees. Then I'm just gonna leave some space in there just in case I want to write some more Python. I'm gonna run this Chicago.py, hopefully it works. All right, nothing happened, that's really good. I'm gonna check my database. Control Z, employees, got employees table. I'm gonna actually check it. So you've got ID, integer, first name, last name, job title, full or part-time, department, annual salary, integer. I'm gonna quit. Now Kenneth mentioned, hey, you know, in the Chicago salaries, part-time or full-time, it's literally just an F or a P. I'm gonna go ahead and actually change that to 1. I'm gonna run this again. Oh, what am I doing? Q, I'm gonna run the Chicago salaries. Chicago, oh no, cursor execute salaries, duplicate table. Crap. No, so let's do a drop table. Drop employees table equals to drop table if exists employees cascade. So we're just writing raw SQL in this. And then where am I executing this? Before it executes, I want to execute drop employees table. Down here, I'm clearing it in the terminal. I'm going to run this again. Great, nothing happened. 1, 2, 3. Control D, employees. There we go. Full, part-time, changed it. Great. Clear. So, nice, we're done. Let's look at release, clean, insert the data. This is where the fun part happens. So last week, we did a lot of object-oriented programming and CSVs, which is a lot of fun. Everyone loves it. I know, I do too. So did we import the CSV? Yes. So yes, with an open, the name of the file, since it's the name of the file is in our current working directory, we don't need the root, what is it called? The root path, thank you. Path is a tough word for me. Chicago, current Chicago salaries, current Chicago salaries.csv. I'm going to do as salaries .csv. And CSV reader equals, I'm going to use dict reader CS salaries .csv. And then for row in CSV reader, I'm going to print the row to ensure I'm actually being able to read all these. So clear. SQL, Python, Chicago salaries. Cool. It's a lot of stuff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quit. So I'm looking at it, order dict name. So I'm trying to print the name just to see what that looks like. Make sure I'm able to access a name. Does that work? No. All right. Name. Does that work? All right, cool. So now, what? So now I actually want to clean the data because if we look at just the row, it's got a bunch of stuff. We have name, job titles, but we want to match everything with our database table. So we're going to have to clean the data. Here we want to actually create a method called clean data. It passes in a row, and let's do print the row. Then down here, for each row, we'll create a variable called clean data, because it's already been cleaned, and assign it to the clean data method. And clean data. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but. And then, so if I clear down here, so the CSV row, a loop goes through each row, passes in the row into this clean data method right here. Here's the dictionary row. I'm going to print the row in here. So clear. All right, cool. We're getting the same thing. So now within this clean data, this is where we're actually going to want to clean the data. So in each table, we have an ID, which we don't have to worry about because it's a serial primary key. So we need to extract the first name. So I'm going to assign a name. Actually, it's print a name. Print the first name again. Or print row. Got my name. The reason why it's a capital name because we're extracting the actual column header value, which is name, job titles, etc. So we have to extract the first name and last name from here. Assign a variable name, and we can do, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can even create a method. I saw people create separate methods to extract specific data from like a get name method and run it through that, which is good because you're separating out each individual operation, like making your code slim. So we need clean. I'm going to create an empty dictionary. We're going to create an empty, like a dictionary of ID, or essentially first name, last name, job title, part-time of our database titles. So name equals row name. We're going to split this. Split. So if this is a name, we want to split it at what? So I notice there's a split, right? Now I'm going to print the name, see what that looks like. Clear, get rid of this thing. So now I got an array of values, first name, last name, two spaces. I don't know if we need to worry about that based off of when we actually add stuff into the database. I think it gets rid of any white space in the beginning or end, or I think in the beginning of a query. So let's do first cleaned. So cleaned first name. So we're assigning a key value in the clean dictionary called first name, and we're gonna grab the first element. So that's that. Essentially, it's like
we did another split to try to take out that middle initial. Is that ideal or unideal? Because we figured when comparing the first name, you wouldn't be able to know.
I mean,
the duplicates if the middle initial was part of the.
You can do that. Like that definitely works. So if you did that, that's good on you. Yeah. But for all intents and for time, let's just keep it as is. But if you split it again to get rid of the middle initial, that's good. Last name, 0. So I'm just going to print the cleaned dictionary now. So I got first name, last name. I'm just looking. Now what else do we need? First, cleaned. We need the job title. Job title. So it's pretty straightforward. Equals row job. What is it? Job titles. So I'm just going to print. Let's keep going. Cleaned. We got full or part-time. Is that right? Full part-time. Full part-time equals row.
Full or part-time time. Capitalize this.
This one, full or part-time. Cleaned. And we got department, right? Equals row department. Finish this up. We get into salaries. So in here we have salary or hourly. Then we have typical hours, annual salary, hourly rates. We look up here. So annual salary, if an employee is an hourly employee, calculate the annual salary by hours per week times hourly salary. So there's multiple rows. I'm sorry, there's multiple columns that calculate salary or that have information about a user's salary or pay in this CSV. But in our database, we just have annual salary. Annually? Yeah, okay. So we need to extract only specific data from individual columns and clean it into essentially one column. Let's take longer. So if, oh, I'm not doing JavaScript.
Oh, no, whatever you want.
So if row, so the one row that actually tells the user or tells us whether they're full or part-time. So if row full or part-time equals hourly.
I think it's
It would be, yeah, P.
Full or part-time.
it's a capital F or
Oh, okay.
Oh, the full or part-time wouldn't say that.
So yeah, so salary or hourly. Full. So I'm going to use, use full or salary or hourly equals hourly. And I can do hours per week because we actually have typical hours, which is hours per week, and the hourly rate equals. So this is, what data type does this come out through?
String.
Comes out as a string. So we can actually create a float row. Is it typical hours? Typical hours.
Is float already in there? You have to import float.
That's import anything. We'll figure it out. If it throws us, gives us an error, we'll write hourly salary equals float row. Is it annual salary, hourly rate, and then cleaned that annual. Is it annually salary?
You have annual.
Oh, that's awful. We're gonna have to create that again. Annual salary equals hours per week times hourly salary times 50. Thank you. Hourly salary. Let's print this. Print cleaned annual salary. I'm gonna clear down here on the terminal. So get any errors. Ooh, that's not weird. So I got 0.9999, 0.0001. So can we do anything about that? We round. So if this works down here. Cool. If you calculate it to 2 decimal points or 1 decimal or whatever, that's totally fine. What's going on? All right, else. Is it else if or else?
Else.
Do else. Else. Well, no, we still have to check elif row.
Because it can only be dated, right? If it's not hourly, then it has to be salary.
No, because it might test other things. Because it's like if it's not anything other than that, it's gonna automatically execute. So even if it's full or part time, it's gonna execute. So the salary, and salary equals. Let's do a float again. Row. Actually, this annual salary. Check that header. And cleaned annual salary equals round salary. What do we want to return at the very end? So let's return cleaned. I'm going to print the clean data. So I'm passing in each row in here in this clean data method. We're extracting stuff from the CSV, only what we want. Row, department, hourly. We're doing some, conditional logic, whether or not they're hourly or full-time, calculating their annual salary there. And we're assigning that annual salary based off of whether they're hourly or they actually have an annual salary. This is the empty dictionary. This is where we're creating all the keys on the empty dictionary. And then we just returned that clean dictionary. Down into here, so that's what that clean data is an individual rows cleaned dictionary. Now we're gonna just print it. All right, cool. Now we have to execute or write a SQL command to insert data into the database. So I'm going to, let's just create cursor, does it execute? And in here is where we're actually write our query or insert into employees, because that's the name of the table. Then we want to do first name. This is the order matters. So first name, last name, job title, full or part-time, department, annual salary. And then what's next? What do we want to put in here?
The percent S's or values.
Values. And then
6.
6 of them. Percent S. That's 7. 6.
Percent S, is that a SQL command or is that a Python command?
The %s just represents like, hey, each one of these. So there isn't a value here, but we want to hold this, like in this location, first name goes. In this location, last name goes. So it's just kind of like a hold, a placeholder. Yeah, I don't know what that the %s. I think it stands for like a string, but yeah.
Java's format, right? It's like Java's format.
Yeah. So you want those all to be strings?
Yeah, so let's keep that. And then the second value in this executes is what we're actually going to be inserting in there. So we have this clean data dictionary, and we want to pass in all the clean data.
So the string formatting can also extract keys out of the dictionary that you pass into it.
So
you can do
this-
percentage sign, open parentheses,
open parentheses,
key name, like let's say name.
like first name.
Yeah. After parentheses, you put S,
After the parentheses, I put S.
and that will
that.
be, and that will extract clean first name from clean data.
Interesting. Cool. I'm going to do this first, and then
Sure.
so the second parameter, I'm actually extracting, it's like a tuple, clean data, first name, last name, etc. After it runs through this for loop, I'm just going to print, successfully added data. 1, 2, 3. So let's see if this works. Hopefully, no bugs. So nothing's happening because it's inserting a bunch of data into it. Successfully added data. 1, 2, 3. There's a bunch of them. It'd be much easier if I just wrote that. So D. So I want to select all from employees. What if I just wanted to select the first like 5 or something? Limit 5. Cool. So it looks like we all got in there. And clear. Or, yeah. So Beck, you were saying if I do parentheses, first name, and then do I even need the second?
Nope. You can just pass clean data.
Just pass in the entire. So that's cool. Let's do that. First name, last name, job title. We got full part-time, department, and annual salary. Where am I at?
End of the same line.
And then in this, does it have to be a tuple?
Nope.
Just
the regular dictionary.
cleaned data like that.
Yep. I mean, it worked for me, so.
I'm just gonna run it again, see if it works. What's up?
You have drop if added, right?
Job if what?
Drop if is it going to try
Yeah.
to make the
So
table?
I've got a drop if table if it exists. If it doesn't work, yep. Oh, thank you. It's running. Success of that, great, cool. Select star from employees. Limit 5. Cool. Work 2. We're not gonna jump into any queries. We're gonna get you started, but I will commit this and the queries that I have. I'm gonna stop the recording right there.